All right. So hi, everyone. My name is Anna Tristani. I have a master's degree from Illinois State in sports psychology, and I am currently studying mental health counseling at Marquette University. Today, I just want to cover the psychology of baseball. A couple objectives. First, I want to give a quick overview of mental performance. We'll talk a little bit about what exactly it is and then why it's important. Next, we'll dive into one of the many mental performance skills. There are so many out there, and if I had more time, I would definitely go over a lot more, but we're going to pick one today to talk about. And then I just want to go over how you all as coaches can help build these skills as athletes so that they can all perform at the best of their ability. So what exactly is mental performance? Mental performance is using mental skills to help athletes perform at their best mentally. So mental skills can include confidence, imagery, goal setting, emotional control, positive self-talk, and dealing with adversity. And I bolded dealing with adversity because this is a really big one that I've seen in the past while working with athletes, and it's also the one that we're going to talk a little bit about today and dive into. Also, just keep in mind, this is not an exhaustive list of mental performance skills. There are so many out there that are important. These are just some main ones that I've used when working with athletes in the past. So why is mental performance important? How an athlete reacts is much greater than what is actually happening to them. So athletes are going to face difficult times in sports and out of sports, and these mental skills are going to help them react in a positive way when these difficulties do happen to them. Often, greatest barriers are self-imposed. So the things that are holding them back the most are already inside of them based on the experiences that they've had up to this point. And again, mental skills are just going to help them break down these barriers a little bit and deal with them in a positive way. Just as athletes go to practice almost every day to work on their sport-specific skills, these mental skills also need to be practiced. They have to train their mind. So taking the time and putting in the effort to practice these skills is really going to help them exceed. And athletes can't really be at their full potential without a strong mind. So referring to this little diagram over here, the three of these things all need to exist for an athlete to reach that full potential and be the best that they can be. The two that are often the most looked at are strength and agility. So this is athletes getting faster and quicker and stronger and being in the weight room. The sports skills, so these are those fundamental skills of each sport, so the sports-specific skills. And then the one that is most often overlooked are those mental skills, the things that we're talking about today. So building a positive mindset and having leadership skills or having emotional intelligence. This is often the most overlooked thing, but without one of these three, the athlete really can't be the best that they can. I'm going to give you a quick example of an athlete that has a really strong mindset. I'm sure we all know who this is. This is Tom Brady. And this picture of him here on the left is his combine photo. And looking at this picture, you may think, well, he doesn't look like he's in the best shape. But we all know today that he's probably one of the best athletes to ever play football. And the way he got there is by having a strong mindset. He had strong mental skills. He was able to overcome adversity and deal with and bounce back from negativity. And that's what we want to build in all of our athletes. So they can, if you have a strong mindset, it really brings together those other two aspects like in the previous slide. So like I said, adversity is something that every athlete is going to deal with no matter if they like it or not. It's something that's going to come in sport. It's going to come out of sport. And being able to deal with it is going to really help them be the best athlete that they can be. Adversity is a difficulty that one may face that's out of your control. And these difficulties often come from different stressors. There's school stressors, social stressors, and then sports stressors. So a school stressor could be failing a test. Social stressor could be fighting with a friend or a significant other. And then a sports stressor could be dealing with an injury. All of these different stressors have aspects of them that are out of an athlete's control. And everyone is going to face adversity. It's how we overcome that adversity that's really going to make or break us as an athlete. So how do we overcome adversity? First is going to be by building resilience. And resilience is going to be an athlete's ability to overcome and recover from difficulties or adversity. And this is a process of positive adaptation. So it's going to be something that takes time because it's a process. and adaptation, what's going to be changes in mental and physical behavior. Resilience is not something that is automatically developed after experiencing adversity. It's not something that just because you dealt with something that's really hard, you automatically are now resilient. It takes self-reflection, and you have to be aware of what you're going through in order for resilience to be built. And like I said before, psychological and behavioral qualities are going to be really important in building resilience. So it's not only changing the way you think, but the actions that go along with it. Another way to help with adversity is by building these mental skills. When it comes to baseball, there are some that really stuck out to me. The first one being imagery. So this is visualizing. A lot of times I've worked with athletes who are having a hard time even just getting a hit on the ball. So one thing that can be really helpful is helping them visualize themselves hitting the ball. And this imagery comes in a lot of different shapes and forms. It can be physically looking at yourself from out of body, hitting a ball. It can be seeing how your hands are being held and where the ball is contacting the bat. And all of these things are going to be really important when dealing with adversity, because it's going to kind of take your mind off of those negative things that are bringing you stress and anxiety. Goal setting is also a really important skill to have. This is going to help athletes succeed by taking things step by step. So oftentimes athletes have this really big goal of winning X amount of games or winning conference or state. And a lot of that goal is out of an athlete's control. So breaking down a big goal like that into things that they can't control, like I'm going to bat X amount of times today, or I'm going to stay at practice 10 minutes extra, are going to help an athlete reach those bigger goals without them even knowing it. Positive self-talk, a big thing that I see with athletes is they have negative self-talk. So maybe they step up to the plate and they think, wow, I'm going to strike out again. And just a simple mindset change of, yep, I'm going to get a hit this time is not directly going to get them a hit, but it's going to increase their chances and their confidence. And then just having positive support systems. Who has an athlete's back? Because every athlete is going to face adversity, they're going to need people to fall back on. So whether that be teammates or you as coaches, an athlete's going to really need that in order to be able to come back from a difficulty. Another thing that is really important when dealing with adversity is having coping mechanisms. And this is kind of a long list, but there's a couple that I'll point out that I think can be really beneficial for athletes. The first one being seeking social support for instrumental reasons. This is when an athlete looks for advice. And this is where coaches can really come into play too. One of your biggest points as a coach is to give advice to your players. So this can be a really good place for you to help an athlete with adversity. Another one is seeking social support for emotional reasons. For emotional support, again, sometimes maybe just letting your athlete vent to you or making sure they have a teammate that they can do that can be really important when overcoming a difficulty. And then the last one on this list that I think is really important is acceptance. Sometimes, depending on what difficulty an athlete is facing, just realizing that it has happened and moving on from it can be a really, really important thing. So now, what are some things you as a coach can do to help your athletes in hard times? First of all, mindset is everything. You as a coach can really help your athlete maintain a growth mindset. So one of the biggest things is dealing with failure. A growth mindset is going to look at failure and see it as a learning opportunity. And you as a coach, you might have to help players with that sometimes because failure isn't easy for anyone. So making sure that you're uplifting athletes after, maybe something doesn't go as exactly as they want is really going to help them maintain that growth mindset. Make sure that you as a coach, you're checking in with your players. Sometimes this can be with players who you've noticed maybe a lower mood, or maybe their performance has dropped a little bit, or it can just be with the players who maybe you don't see any change and they're playing the same and they seem happy. Every player can use a check-in. So routinely checking in on players is going to be really important. Team bonding activities. This isn't only going to be good because they get a little bit of a break from their sport, but also building that social support among the players so they can have each other's back and have a good team culture. Make sure that you listen to your players, give them a space where they can talk about things. And, maybe something isn't going well in practice. I hope that they could be able to talk about that with you and bring up their concerns. A really big thing with athletes and them feeling good is them feeling like they have autonomy. So giving them a chance to bring things up to you as a coach is going to be really important. And then lastly, if you as a coach has tried these things and maybe you're not seeing improvement in some of your players, there are external sources or people that can help you. There are mental performance coaches who can help you with some of these mental performance skills, sports psychologists who can maybe dig a little deeper if you're noticing some anxiety or depression in an athlete, or even other resources just like mental health counselors. And then this website is the Applied Sports Psychology website, where it has a lot of information on where you can find people. So thank you for listening today. Again, my name's Anna, and here's my email in case you have any questions or concerns or comments. I'd love to hear from you all. Thank you.